imagine you are not allowed to play indoor or outdoor games, or you are not allowed to read imaginative books, or you are not allowed to share what you think. How you feel in the childhood this restriction are upon on you from your parents. So I'm Dhwani Rajyaguru, my roll number 4, and today I'm going to talk about hard times and the childhood. This is my personal information, and this is the points which I will discuss. Brief note on Charles Dickens' introduction of Hard Times, short summary, Hard Times and Childhood, in which I will talk about three people's childhood, Louisa, Tom, and Sissy's childhood, and now how the theme is connected to the author and critics corner. So first, Charles Dickens, who born on 7 February 1812 in England and died on 9 June 1870 in Kent. He is English novelist. Generally, he is considered as the greatest of the Victorian era, and his many volumes include such works as Christian Carol, David Copperfield, Hard Times, Bleak House, A Tale of Two Cities, Great Expectation, and Our Mutual Friend. So this is the introduction of Hard Times. Hard Times is published in a serial form in the periodical Household Words from April to August 1854, and later it converted into the whole book in the same year. The novel is a bitter indictment of industrialization with its dehumanizing effects on workers and communities in the mid-19th century of England. Short summary of the hard times. Louisa and Tom Gradgrind have been harshly raised by their father, who is an educator who knows nothing but only the most factual, pragmatic information. Their lives are devoid of beauty, culture, or imagination, and the two have little or no empathy for others just because of that reason. Louisa marries to Josiah Bounderby, a vulgar banker and a mill owner, and she eventually leaves her husband and returns to her father's house. Then Tom, the son of Thomas Gradgrind, who robs the brother-in-law's bank, and then only after this problems and crisis, father realized that the manner in which he raised his children has ruined their lives totally. So, hard times and the childhood. Now, three people's childhood is seen in the hard time. The first is Louisa, second is Tom, and then Cece. Novels start with the voice of a headmaster, Thomas Gradgrind, where he says, "Now, what I want is facts. Teach these boys and girls nothing but the facts." In Hard Times, Charles Dickens also mentions in chapter 2 about Gradgrind that a man of realities, a man of facts and calculations, a man who proceeds upon the principle that 2 and 2 are 4 and nothing over, and who is not to be talked into allowing for anything over. Thomas Gradgrind, Sir Parameterily Thomas Gradgrind, with a rule and pair of scales and the multiplication table always in his pocket. Sir, ready to weigh and measure any parcel of human nature and tell you exactly what it comes to. So this is the characteristic of Gradgrind and how this letter influences his daughter and his son. Louisa's imbalanced childhood. Louisa is very important character of the novel. She emphasizes on reason and the rejection of emotions and imagination in her childhood lead her to the imbalanced adulthood. She doesn't know what she feels. It's not like that she doesn't have the emotions. She have the emotions. She feels that, but she doesn't know what the name of these things are. For example, when Stephen needs help, she gives her money. Or the example when she talks with the fire about what she feels, but she doesn't know it is the emotion. When I am talking about this, I remember one line from the poetry written by me that उन यादों को अरसों बाद पुकारा तब लगा कि उन यादों को जब पुकारता हूं तो लगता है कि खिलौनों को देखते देखते मैं रो गया या आंखों में बनी वो तस्वीरों को निहारते निहारते लगता है सब कुछ खो गया. So her lives is just imbalanced just because of the fact too much practical way or too much facts. The another character is Tom. Tom is emotional less from the childhood. Now why? Because Tom, the emphasis on reason in his childhood deprives him from the pleasures of childhood defined by fun and play, and leads him to resent his family deeply. His attempts to capture the youth he feels he mislead to irresponsibility, entitlement, excessive gambling, and the other disreputable activities. He feels entitled to his sister continue assistant, and later he needs his father's help when he robs the bank. So in short, Tom's lack of balanced childhood prevents him from growing into a balanced responsible adult. So the father's expectation of being so much practical harm to his both children and their childhood too. There is also one a movie named Judai, that in that Shri Devi sold her husband to the his boss daughter Janvi, and then the husband, now what happened to the husband? He feels love for the Janvi. Why? Because she is emotional, and Shri Devi is too much practical, too much factual. She just runs behind money. So that is example. Now the also very good character, which is perfect, imaginative, and though she is reality based, and that is Sisi. Sisi Jube experiences a more balanced childhood and grows up accordingly. Now, why? Because she is obviously tied to the circus, to entertainment, to the life of the imagination. But she is also clearly one of the more realistic and matter of fact characters in the novel, because in the later part she is living with the family of Great Grind. She spends her first 7 years in the warm and whimsical environment of the circus, well loved by father and the other performers, and then she shifted to the Great Grind. Although she considered herself as a failure student, her early experience tempered the strict education she receives and give her emotions and imaginative grounding that makes her useful resource when the Great Grind really need her help in the last part. So this says that this proves that she is kind, she is caring, and then she is loving too. In the face of being abandoned by her father and then being forced to learn the Great Grind philosophy, she never stopped being the only grounding, emotional, and positive force in Cocktown. And now, why this childhood theme is too much influencing hard times? It is often said that Charles Dickens recollect childhood memories with hard times somewhere. Somewhere we can see that lost childhood of Charles Dickens in hard times, that which is also childhood theme. As child was the second born of 8 children. He was from when he was only 12 years. He worked with the working class man and boys in the factory that handled blacking or a shoe polish. So his childhood also felt the part of the poverty, or we can say the part of the industrialism. He recorded his own childhood, lost childhood, in fragmentary autobiography, which he wrote for the Fosters, in which he himself says that no words can express the secret agony of my soul, the deep remembrance of the sense I had of being utterly neglected and hopeless, of the shame I felt in the position. I have in text that journal's name here. And then it's time for the critics corner, what critics say about hard times. So according to F.R. Lewis, which he wrote in 1950 that of all Dickens' works, it is the one that has all strength of his genius together with his strength. No other of them can show that of a complete serious work of art. And according to Edgar Johnson, he wrote in 1952 that Hard Times is a morality drama. And according to W. Wed, in which he say, according to W. Wed, he says that the thought structure, the dramatic pace, the symbolic economy, and the single-minded dedication to a serious purpose, which make Hard Times both powerful criticism of the Victorian industrial world and an intervening example of Dickinson's mature art. So These are my citation. These are my references. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yes, funny. You said the Hindi lines in your presentation. So, how these lines is appropriate with your topic?
Hindi? With which
Hindi
one?
lines.
Yeah. It is because when she sat with the fire, and she is feeling like what happening to me. And then my poetry was also saying that उन यादों को पुकारते पुकारते उन खिलौनों को पुकारते पुकारते मैं रो गया. That connected with this because she is also feeling that something is wrong with me, and this is also saying that my poem is saying that my childhood has gone, and her childhood is also gone, but my childhood is gone in the right way, but her childhood is going in a factual way, in a practical way. So yeah.
Yes, my question is that why Charles Dickens choose childhood in front of reality? In a historical context, you can say that why he choose childhood in front of reality. In hard times, he put the reality of that particular industrialism or that era. Why he choose this childhood?
uh, well, he also felt this type of things, so he just connected with the novel, and also the realism. The Victorian era is era of the industrial revolution, so that time he is feeling no, this revolution is harmful for the people, so he is taking his childhood's reference with the in the realism in the hard times. Yeah. Any other question?